Alrighty. Welcome everyone to the very first episode of our brand new podcast. We don't have a name for it yet. I was going to name it Overcast because that just makes sense, but it's already a thing. So if you guys have any ideas of names for this podcast, let me know in the comments below because this will be on YouTube. It'll also be on like Spotify, Apple, and whatnot. So wherever you're watching this, welcome. Very first episode of the podcast. This one's going to be very unstructured. We're just kind of feeling it out a bit, seeing what's going on. As we get more episodes, there will be like segments or whatnot. It'll be more structured. But today, just a bit of open discussion about what's going on in country music right now. And are we just going to jump in with the first little topic the first item on the agenda?
I never got this agenda.
There isn't one, but
there's not an official agenda, but I think the biggest is Eric Church. Okay, so we can simply start there. J6 obviously was not part of the Eric Church discussion video because
I need to say something.
Yeah.
And this is for my boy Nathan, because he got dogpiled when he said he didn't like "Good Look Good and You Know It," and I never got the chance to back him up. But I'm just gonna put it out there: I hate "Look Good and You Know It."
All right, well,
that's fine. I will say, I'll just go ahead and since I didn't get the chance to be part of the discussion for the triple album.
Yeah, no one's heard.
I'll just go ahead and say, yeah. Well, just as a brief. I own all three because I'm part of the church choir, so I had the
middle album. Go. I have all three too, but
yeah, but we won't. But not legit. Anyway,
it's fully legit, bro. It's fully legit.
Anyway, I will say that my favorite album is either "And" or "Soul," but if we're just talking about heart or soul, I want to say "And" because then it's.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about them actually in that way. I found that in the review, but
if we're just talking about those two, Soul barely wins out for me. Personally.
That's interesting because majority is the opposite. The majority would just say heart.
Yeah,
but
I found that
majority.
For some reason,
everyone in that video. Everyone in that video thought Heart was better, and that's why I wanted Jasix there, because I knew he didn't. And I just wanted to see that.
Yeah, bro, what's going on with this Jasix stuff?
My bad.
The disrespect. Anyway, yeah, so I've thought about it, or at least I've tried to, and I think I like Soul more, just because it feels, I think I probably said this in one of the discussions, but it just feels more... I don't know. Everything feels more cohesive to me. It feels like Eric was really trying to go for a more groovy, kind of chill, like just having fun kind of album. And yeah, the writing's not always on point, but like Eric was just kind of doing what he wanted to, and he didn't care, and I can respect that. And I was having fun with it too. And I do enjoy Heart, although there were a couple songs. I mean, I liked all of them. Like none of them were none of them were even close to being bad. But there were a couple songs where I was just kind of like, yeah, that's all right. Like, Never Break Heart and Love Shine Down, I think are pretty solid, but they're probably my least favorite. People Break is actually my favorite, which I think I noticed that most people didn't even like it very much.
I think it just kind of went under a lot of people's radars.
I just really enjoy People Break. I don't know. I just really like it a lot.
It didn't stick as much as the others.
It might be the instrumentation, which is simple.
Yeah.
But I enjoy the guitar in it. But yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap up my thoughts on Soul because that's the one I really like. I know Break It Kind of Guy is so like cheesy, and Eric is just going full blown, just like, what are you doing, my guy?
It's grown on me so much though.
Yeah, but I love it. I got this album before everybody else could listen to it because I got it in the mail. But yeah, there was one Friday. I hang out with some of my friends every Friday, and we went and got fried chicken, and I'm driving, and my buddy Dathan is in the passenger seat, and my buddy Colby's right behind me, and we have it cranked out all the way up, and we're listening to what was it? We were listening to Where I Want to Be, and so we're just vibing, so chill, and I'm driving, one hand on my steering wheel, one hand on a drumstick chicken. I'm just chewing, and bro, it was a vibe. It's just so fun. I just really enjoy that one. Although I will say that Probably it'd probably have to be Jenny. Like I like Jenny, but to me it kind of feels like Jenny should just be on Heart or just like not really on any of the albums. Maybe
Jenny unanimously seems to be people's least favorite.
Nope.
Okay, yeah, well, you also think Look Good and You Know It isn't
Jenny.
Good, so you're going to step back for a second. But,
I don't hate
disrespect.
Jenny. Yeah. I don't hate Jenny. It just feels weird in the context of the album. I like Jenny quite a lot.
I get that. It's like the opposite of Break It Kind of Guy, where Break It Kind of Guy on its own, you're kind of like, what? But in the context of the album, now the whole context of the album is what? But therefore it fits. And that's the thing where Heart is... Like, I think Heart is stronger and just more consistent. And if you just showed the average Eric Church fan or just average music fan Heart and Soul, they're probably going to pick Heart. It's just more, songs are more radio friendly. 100%. Soul's just so out there. But at the same time, I would pick Heart as better, but it does get hard because Soul, like, it's not a standard listen. It's a heavier listen in the sense that, not in the sense that the songs themselves are like subject matter heavy, but the listen, it's just weird. It's more out there. It's like, I think I've made the comparison. You guys wouldn't get it, but it's like Pretty Sweet by Frank Ocean. There's a lot of moments on Blonde that, by themselves, they don't make a lot of sense. And even Blonde itself, like, it's not a very standard. None of the songs really have song structure. It's not a very standard instrumental palette. It's just out there, but at the same time, that's where you get those cool moments. Like, I know Jade is a little opposed to this, but Look Good and You Know It, when he comes out wailing at the start, like, you're not gonna get that if you don't just go for it. And so I don't really know how to describe it, but yeah, Soul, I found myself going back to Soul more, honestly.
I would say the same, but that's kind of a given considering that I've said that I enjoy it more. I think part of it might, well, I mean, even when I first listened to it alone in the car, I was like, okay. But then when I'm listening to it with, like, my buddy Zach loves Eric Church, when I listen to it with my other friends, Colby and Dathan, we're just like jamming out in the car to all these like just fun, like crazy songs. And it's like, maybe that had to do with my enjoyment, but I still listen to it on my own and still enjoy it the same way.
Yeah, but that's a big thing though, is like
might have been a
connection to the songs. Like, it's a very valid thing to say. And
camaraderie often connects like good memories.
Oh yeah. And I find that, when I'm doing like, talking about my favorite songs from certain artists, it's like, I'm not going to sit here and try and get objective factors into words, because the fact of the matter is this may be my favorite song simply because of the memories I've made with it.
But it might not be the best.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but it's not a guilty pleasure, but it's not like objectively the best song. It's an idea I'm definitely like, I mean, I have the document, I just haven't really added to it, but it's a video essay I really want to do. I want to like actually research behind like memories and music and where that ties together. And I don't know where I would go with it, but I really want to make that at some point. So it's a very valid thing to say. Like Break It Kind of Guy is my favorite song simply because I love doing this to it. That's super valid in my opinion. Jaded, you've been kind of quiet. Would you like to stir the pot a little bit with your hating Look Good?
My man, you're over here dissing my music taste when you think a Blocko Brown song is like your number one guilty pleasure. Like, dog. Yeah. Are you good?
Well, Jaded, to be fair, me and you enjoy a lot of the same music, but I think I just have more of a tolerance for like I love, my favorite thing about music is writing and then it's instrumentation. I think you're the same way, correct?
For sure.
Yeah. But if the song is fun enough or if it's offering something else, I'm willing to completely throw my like morals that have to do with this, like
your
writing
morals
away. I'm willing to throw it away as long as like that whatever else it's offering is like just like really fun.
Yes. Well, I also don't, like, to a certain extent, I also don't experience music in the same way. I often like listen to music alone. There's not like much memories I get from it. Like most of the time when I'm like listening to music, I'm walking like around where I live. I usually don't like associate music specifically with memories.
Okay.
So it's not like the same thing.
Yeah, I can get that. I mean, I think we talked about this before, but when you say you're a lyrics over music kind of guy, I'm not going anywhere with this, but I'd be the flip side. I'd be the guy that, I'll take a better sound over better lyrics. But
yeah, for sure. And I think that's super super valid. I don't think
neither is correct. Neither is correct.
Well, I think
and
I think you have to have a basic good sound with those good lyrics. Because if you have a horrible sound, I'm not listening to your song.
Oh yeah,
that's what music is.
You can get it. It's way easier to get away with. Yeah, it's way easier to get away with bad lyrics than a bad sound because the sound is the thing that strikes you. Like if you're listening to music just in the background or something, you hear the sound of it. You're not putting together the lyrics, so it's way easier to get away with having terrible lyrics, which very well could be a factor in my preference of instrumentation over lyrics. But at the same time, if you got a bad sound, like good luck. But
well, as I've gone into more specifically folk music, I've kind of discovered that I'm also a much more than the instrumentation. I'm also more about the voice. I can listen to any genre if it's a voice that I like. Okay. And good lyrics.
That's interesting.
I will say back on the topic of our biases towards our favorite songs from favorite artists, that you when you mentioned Frank Ocean, one of your favorite songs, it reminded me of because me and Big Bird and Nathan had been talking in the one, I don't remember when, but we had been talking about Kip Moore a lot recently, and hands down, it's undisputed for me that Fast Women off of his Slow Heart album is his best song and my favorite song. Now, I can understand. I don't know. I just love the guitar. And I do actually remember the first time I listened to that album. I was at work. Yeah, we're good. I don't know. I just love that song. And I don't even know if you know it, but it's kind of a deep cut because I've never even seen anybody talk about it, which is upsetting to me because I love that song.
Yeah, I don't. Kip Moore is one of those people that I'm very late to the bus on. I've only found him in the last year or so, so I haven't dived too deep into his discography yet.
Yeah, I actually discovered him almost a year to the date. Essentially, it might have been late April of last year, but I discovered him during quarantine. Because I was listening to a lot of music while I was doing work, because I worked as a janitor at my church. I don't anymore, but anyway, I was listening to a lot of music, and I remember I was like, you know what? I kind of gave his Wild Ones album a listen to, but I gave it a shot, I think, back in high school, and I didn't give it enough of a chance, because I think I listened to half of the first, the title track, and I was like, nah, I wrote it off. But then when I decided to give Slow Heart a chance, and Slow Heart is in my top 5 album. That's without a doubt. I love Slow Heart by Kip Moore. It's I think it's amazing. Yeah, with the closer of Guitar Man, and it's just it's great. I highly recommend it, but obviously
I'm gonna go back.
Not everybody's gonna. Yeah, obviously not everybody's gonna love it as much as I do. But I'm also a very big. The more I listen to music and explore, that I find myself gravitating very heavily towards rock just in general, and the only outlier would be Josh Turner, and a lot of that is nostalgia and me just clinging to that.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, for me,
but honestly, I genuinely enjoy Josh Turner too. So
yeah, I mean, for me, I get kind of picky with my rock, and the only rock I really listen to is country rock. But for me, if you had to, It's weird because I just kind of listen to everything, but in terms of music that I gravitate towards, it's honestly just music that I can kind of escape with, which also would really contribute to that instrumental over lyrics part. And it's why
actually a song that, sorry, I'm totally interrupting, but a song that what you just said, what you were describing, a song that I'm sure you would agree with me, Seven Summers is just the sound of it just feels like it's taking you back somewhere.
It's such a big reason of why it was my favorite song from last year. But
for sure.
It's why I mean, growing up, I would only ever listen to country music, 'cause that's all I was exposed to. And then, once you start kind of listening to music more seriously, I was the country fan who was gatekeeper, this is country. Everything else, what's this? A synthetic sound? No. But now,
what is this?
What's this garbage, bro? But now, exactly. But now over quarantine, it's like, and especially in 2021, so far I've been listening to so much more like, hip hop and R&B and pop, because I like that idea of being able to escape in music, especially when, the world's kind of like gone to crap around you. It's like country music has the strength of country music is that it feels right at home, and it feels down to earth. That's the whole point. But what I've found intriguing about the other genres is that oftentimes it's a lot of fun to not feel down to earth. It's fun to just take a step back for a moment. So it's why I've been listening to so much more, and like there's a lot of country that does kind of make me escape from that. It's why I like Midland. It's all that dreamy sounds and stuff. But
that's good.
Then there are artists like Mac Miller, who I'm genuinely like low-key concerned to see my Apple replay, because
you're listening to him a lot,
bro. Frank Ocean was my most listened to last year with 50 something hours, or like 40 something hours of Frank Ocean. Bro, there's no way I'm under 60 hours of Mac Miller.
I can tell you without a doubt that Kip Moore, he was my most listened to artist last year, and I didn't discover him until halfway through. I can guarantee you he's going to be my most listened to. I can guarantee you that, and I can also guarantee you that Josh Turner is also going to be in my top.
Josh Turner is always going to be up there.
Yeah, he's always there.
I don't have an app where I can like see like who was my most listened to, because I am broke and I can't like subscribe to anything yet. But I know for a fact,
Zach
because
Bryan.
I used to listen to both of his albums every day.
Oh yeah.
There's no way he's not.
I mean, that's a good question. What artist do you, and it could be right now, but what artist do you listen to, like, and there may not be one, just like a crazy amount you listen to? Like for you it would be Zach Bryan. Like for me right now it would be Mac Miller. Like I genuinely listen through at least one of his albums each day, and they're all like pretty long. They're all like, I don't think he has one under 50 minutes, which is why I'm concerned to see the final time. But especially like his older stuff, I find a lot of artists, they'll start out with like shorter albums, which is another thing I'm in the process of making a video of, the length of albums. But most people start with like EPs and stuff. Nah, like back in 2010 and stuff, Mac's albums are always like 18 songs, an hour and 10 minutes. Like holy crap.
Interesting.
But it's also
I've never really ventured into that kind of stuff. But I also I don't completely like, I don't shut myself off from like rap and hip hop and all that stuff. But I'm very, I don't know, I have to really like it.
Oh yeah,
I'm the same way with metal too. I don't.
Oh yeah, that there's very few genres that I cannot get into, and metal's one. But it's like I could sit down here and I could talk about an artist like Mac Miller for 5 hours and be so content with myself. But it's funny because then you could equally talk about Kip Moore for 5 hours, and you would be so happy with yourself, and we'd just be here like bruh, because it's just it's connection. What do you connect with in music? And that's the thing I find kind of cool. But
yeah, so I've like said before, like I'm very into songwriting, right? But I don't think like Zach Bryan's the best songwriter.
He's
like,
up there.
Yeah, he's up there for sure. Well, but he's just the one that I connect with the most. You know?
Yeah. So what I have to say, Zach Bryan, what he can do is very impressive. But sometimes I'm not like, no, I was starting to sound negative there.
I'm not going to kill you, I promise.
Yeah, well, I just don't want to sound negative because I genuinely really enjoy Zach Bryan. Like I watch his, like he does those like short podcasts on YouTube. I watch him. I enjoy what he does. But sometimes it seems like he's getting a little too, like when in some of his songs, I can't think of one off the top of my head. This is just in general. Like I might find that like I'm like, wow, you're getting like really, really like intricate with this, and it's just kind of, I don't know, like it's just like
it can be honestly hard to track at times.
Yeah, it feels a little less accessible just in general, and I'm not saying he's for everyone because he's not, but it's just and that's just a very, very minor critique. I really
Well,
enjoy what he does.
I've never had a problem with that specifically, but like if I were to give like Zach Bryan like one criticism, I would say like he kind of uses like words that he doesn't need to, and sometimes it feels like really unnatural. Like
Sure.
sometimes.
Oh well, yeah, actually, I would agree, but I think he does that on purpose.
I think that's part of the. I think that's part of the. Not gimmick,
No,
but
no,
part
no,
of
I'm
the.
not. I'm not. Like when he goes, I'd fight any roughneck, I'd stop any river. Like, yeah, I'm all about that. But there's just like certain times where he says something and it just doesn't feel natural. Like that does.
Mm-hmm,
You know?
Like he tries, like he's trying too hard to fit in these complex words.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I can get
All right.
that.
I'm gonna real quick backtrack probably like 10 minutes ago in the conversation.
It's good.
Let's go.
But I remember Evan saying that he was talking about like growing up, like when we attach ourselves to certain music, and like for him, he
Wait.
grew up with country music, and for me,
Wait, I
What?
don't think the audience knows that Overshore's name is Evan. I think you're
I
gonna
think
meet
they
it.
do.
Do
Well,
they?
it's
I've
been
definitely said it in a video, but it may have been a while. So
I
I'm
think
whatever.
you've said.
My
I think
name's
you said
name
it
is Evan.
in a total of one video. So I don't
yeah,
think-
that's true. Everyone in the Discord knows, but
Yeah.
YouTube or wherever you're listening to this, Evan
Mm-hmm.
is my name. You can refer to me as that in the comments. Feel free, or Overshore, either or. Continue.
All right. Well, anyway, Evan was saying that he grew up listening to a lot of country music, right? I think that's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so for me, my parents were never like we listen to music on the radio, but a lot of time it was like I come from a religious like Christian background, so like a lot of it was like stuff that I heard was usually Christian radio when I was growing up, or my older siblings, because I'm the youngest of four. My older siblings, like there was a lot of like punk rock and All American Rejects and like Reliant K and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Green Day and stuff like that. So I grew up listening to like rock and punk rock, and I didn't get into country music until like 3 years ago, like genuinely.
Yeah.
So I'm like fairly new to like a lot of stuff, and well, relatively, but the one constant, and I think the reason why I can enjoy country music is because when I was young, I grew up with the Your Man Josh Turner album, and I was the only Josh Turner album I knew for like 12 years of my life. And if somebody asked me who my favorite country artist was, I'd be like, well, the only one I really know is Josh Turner.
You bring a good point, because I
Your
say
man.
I grew up listening to country music, and that is true, but like growing up on country music really means Brooks and Dunn, Zach Brown, Brad Paisley,
Sure.
Blue Rodeo, but they're kind of like country rock. So it's like, in terms of actually critically listening to country music, following the new releases and trends, it's only been like 2-3 years for me as well. That said, I'm also on the younger end of people that publicly speak about music, but that's one thing I find in the comments a lot is people will say, or I'll get messages of like certain artists like, oh, what do you think of like this person, or oh, this sounds like this person, and it's like, I'm not denying it is, and I'm not gonna always say I have not a clue who you're talking about, but a lot of times it's like, up until like any generation before the one we're in right now, it's not like I just grew up knowing it. Like, I can't say, oh yeah, I remember that song. It's interesting. I don't know. It's definitely fun being almost young and new to it, even though I consider myself quite educated now, especially on like this current generation of music. But yeah, that was my quick little blurb on being a child.
Yeah.
Well, not a child, but the younger end.
And I'm so deep into country music at this point, it's hard to imagine. Sometimes I can't even remember what I was listening to before I got into country music, because I know I listened to I really liked Imagine Dragons, or at least their first album. Their newer stuff I'm not big on, but their like first two albums were like kind of alternative rock with a little bit of like pop in there, but like I thought it was really good. I always really enjoyed it, but like it's hard for me to think of what I don't think I really, because my favorite bands are besides artists besides Josh Turner obviously are all country pretty much that I've discovered within the past couple of years, except for Kaleo, but I discovered him after my love for country music belongs.
And the Kaleo album as well. I've only listened to the opener because I didn't have time to go through the whole thing.
But the opener is so good, too.
It is very good. I have it downloaded. I just haven't had the chance to go through the whole thing.
I think Jaded would like it a lot. The fact that Jaded, I don't know if... Jaded, have you listened to Kaleo? Their A and B album?
Yep, I listened to it. You told me to.
Okay, and I'm just curious. Like, you don't have to... Don't lie to me. Just tell me.
Worst piece of crap he's ever heard.
I like how you primed that like you did with the Zach.
Because I will preface before you go any further. I will say, I mean, I don't care what you say. I still love you the same. But Kaleo, literally, until what? It was like a week and a half ago. They only had one album. Literally, that was it. And they were in my top 5.
It was like 2015 or something, right?
Yeah, it was 2016. They are in my top 5 artists. They're probably number 4, and they only had one album. They had 10 songs for me to listen to.
That shows how good that album is. How much you enjoy that.
I just love that album. Every song. Even there's a song that's completely in it's Icelandic. They're not speaking English. And I just I know the words, and I've looked up the lyrics before. I don't remember exactly what.
J6 is just temporarily like an Icelandish citizen.
Yeah, so I've developed a massive love for hard traditional rock because good stuff still exists because current rock bands and metal bands are all going super electronic, and it's basically just metal pop or rock pop at this point. But it's you can still make good music and not do that, and Kaleo is very popular, and their touring audience is massive, and it's crazy. Anyway, sorry, I'm going way off.
No, that's fine.
Jaded, what did you? I want to know your thoughts. I'm very curious.
I like it.
Okay.
Looks like he's bracing for something like the butt. The butt's coming.
Hit me with it.
Well, the thing is, there's nothing especially about their voices that I especially like. There's nothing about
that's interesting.
There's nothing about the instrumentation that I especially like, and the lyrics are very, very solid. But it's not the kind of music I would really go back to. I enjoy listening to it though.
Okay, I will say that I think on the majority of songs they have 1 or 2 co-writes. Pretty much every song is written by their frontman JJ Julius' son. He solo writes every single song. I think he has
JJ. You say maybe I like it now.
Bro,
yeah, I think there's 1 co-write on their newest album that came out a week and a half ago, Surface Sounds, and then I think there might be a couple on the first album. Don't quote me on that. I'd have to actually look, but they're writing. But the one I thought out of all the things you would have said, I was actually surprised that you said that. What did you say about his voice again? I don't want to.
There's just nothing special about it.
Yeah, that was interesting to me because
it's not that there's nothing special about his voice. There's just not something that I especially like about it.
It didn't work for you, I guess, is what you're saying.
It's not that it didn't work. It's just
sorry, I didn't.
It didn't really click for me.
It didn't butter your biscuit, is what I'm trying to say.
That's exactly right. You got it.
Got you. Yeah. So, and that's interesting to me because when I show people Kaleo, they're they might not like it, but when they hear his voice, they're like, "Is that auto-tune?" And I'm like, "No, that is his natural." Because literally 2 days ago, I showed somebody a song off their newest album, and they were like, they literally asked, "Is this auto-tune?" And I was like, "Nope, this is his voice."
Bro, there's something special about someone who's that good at singing.
Yeah, his falsetto is insane, but he can also scream without ripping his throat. But he can also but the screaming isn't I'm not a big metal guy. I don't love screaming, but for some reason the screaming is tasteful in their music. I can't explain that. Don't try to get me to. But
sure.
It's crazy to me. I don't know.
So the voice is super, super respectable. The thing is, I'm just not into that kind of voice.
Sure. And that's fine. I was just surprised by what you said, I guess.
So okay, let's take Coulter Wall for example. When he sings,
that's an acquired taste.
Yeah, no, he sounds super shaky and stuff. That's what I love about it. I love the little.
You prefer his voice on his first album than the rest.
Yeah, I was gonna say it got a lot more.
Well,
it felt a lot cleaner on his latest album.
Well, Coulter Wall has stated before that he was forcing it way too much in his first album. Like, it wasn't natural for him to sing like that. Like it wasn't good for him.
No, and I respect that he's going away from that, but I just liked how he sounded better, like when he was doing that.
Yeah,
but even like with his newer albums, like not like his recent one where he sings like he's a lot like higher. Like I like listening to like the live performances quite a lot because he shakes a lot like in the live.
I like his.
I love that.
I really enjoy his live performance of The Devil Wears a Suit and Tie.
I was just gonna say The Devil Wears a Suit and Tie is still like honestly up there as one of my favorite country songs. It's just
Caroline. I had Caroline on repeat for a very long time.
I can see that.
Same.
Actually, I really enjoy Caroline, and then Fraulein with Tyler Childers. That's a good one too.
Yeah,
I had a Caroline phase, dog. I was like listening to it like 3 times a day.
I was dating 3 girls named Caroline.
So I guess we can switch gears formally for the first time. Just kind of reset a little bit. Which one do we want to talk about first? We got Thomas Rhett and Dustin Moore. Those are the 2 other albums we kind of wanted to come on here and talk about. Which one do we want to start?
I would like to hit Thomas Rhett and then save Dustin Moore for last. And
Sounds good.
That's mostly because I feel like Dustin Moore is going to be a better one to end it on. It feels more focused to me. It's literally like 7 songs, and I think the 8th song is just an acoustic version. So I think Thomas Rhett would be.
But yeah, so Thomas Rhett, country again, his return to actual country music after Centerpoint Road.
Put that in quotes. Return.
I'd call it a return. There's exceptions.
There's I would say for the most part, it is a nice. Yeah, I guess I would say that. There are a couple songs where I'm like.
There's a few outliers like "Put It on Ice," which is horrendous, and
I would say "Where We Grew Up." What's your country song? And "Put It on Ice" would be.
Yeah, if you take that out, this is a very traditional. Simple country album, and like you heard being the closer, anytime you have that closer to an album from a double album or anything that has more coming, it always begs the question, is it like a transition into the next piece? And if side B keeps up that folk energy, bro, that would be amazing. Thomas fit like a glove on that folk style, and I wouldn't have originally thought that. Like, unless I heard it, I never would have thought Thomas Rhett would actually sound so good on a breezy folk like little song. But he did.
Agree. I actually have something to say about that, just real quick.
Yeah.
So I, before we hopped on this call, I was in the kitchen and I wanted to just get this one fresh in my mind because I'd been listening to Dustin Moore a lot, and it's short, so it's like there's less songs to digest.
Yeah. And
I had listened to this one a couple times when it came out, and I've been coming back to a couple songs, but I hadn't listened to it all the way through in like about a week. So when I listened through it again, and I skipped the first 4 because I knew those had been released already. So, but yet when I got to You Heard, I didn't. It's like the first 3 times I listened to this album, I didn't even hear it or something because it like I just like it caught me off guard. I was like, this song is like really good. And it was super surprising. It was way different than everything else.
Bro, it hit me from the very first listen. I mean, for whatever reason, Want It Again has just stuck with me. But it's You Heard for me. It's gotta be the best one. Jaded, any thoughts on the? I know you didn't really have time to give it too many listens through, but any initial thoughts if you did?
So okay, well, my favorite song was the last song, You Heard.
Yeah. Okay.
But so like for like I think there's a lot of bad songs on here. I don't like this album much, actually.
Bro,
have you
never sleep on Jaded to come through with the contradictory statements.
I would like to say one. I would like to ask one thing real quick, Jaded, before you.
I want someone to quote me on this once I say it, but go ahead.
Okay. I just like. Have you only listened to this once, or have you like?
Yeah, I've only listened to it once.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. But also,
maybe take my opinion with a grain of salt.
It's already grown on me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, even when I was editing the review, I was like, I could have bumped this up a little bit, but I want to hear this. What were you gonna say, Jaded, that people should quote?
I think Thomas Rhett makes music for the people who haven't heard the songs that he makes but better.
Say that again. I did not fully clock that.
That confused me.
Yeah, bro, I'm kind of lost there.
I think Thomas Rhett makes music for the people who haven't heard his songs but better. Because I don't think he has like very little like original concepts, and everything he makes I feel like has been said but better before.
Yeah, but there's only so many things you can say.
Sure.
With all due respect,
I will say, real quick, that this album is the only Thomas Rhett album that I've been able to go through without like completely being like, I'm never gonna listen to this again. Probably.
Yeah, like Centerpoint Row, bro. I mean,
I'm just not a. I was never a big Thomas Rhett fan.
I wasn't either.
When I heard Country Again, like, was it a couple of weeks? I was like, okay,
yeah,
Thomas.
The thing with Thomas, specifically Country Again, and he even references.
My favorite one.
He even references Eric Church, but
he does it twice on 2 different songs.
Yeah, but Country Again just really feels like an Eric Church song.
That's true.
Like
That's
maybe not lyrically, but if you take the sound of Country Again, if you try and tell me those flangy electrics and whatnot, I could so hear Eric Church singing that. It sounds so much like an Eric Church song, like something you would find on Desperate Man.
Oh yeah, well maybe that, but also when I hear it, because I actually just clicked play on it to hear the first 5 seconds, and you're right, those guitar chords.
Hold on, am I gonna get copyrighted if I do this?
Well,
I hope not.
It reminds me of a Homeboy.
Yeah, so here.
Well, let's see. Vibes off of
let's see. So Country Again. I hope this doesn't get copyrighted.
Bro, I swear every time you do that, I can't. It cuts out for me. So
all right, well then we won't. But it sounds like an Eric Church song, and I wish I pointed that out in my review. But there are so many things. This is the hard part about making a review of an album. Every time I make a review of an album, as I'm editing, I think of more points I could have put in. Even though when I make a script, I normally kind of like, have you ever heard the phrase like sleep on it?
Yeah.
I let it sit a day, then I go back to it. But every time I go reviewing, there's things I should have said. And that's one thing I wish I pointed out, because he references Eric Church obviously twice on an 11-song record and that specific song. And it sounds so Eric Church. But who was it? I think it was Joe. Joe in the Discord made a really good point. In the Discord at Overshore. I wonder if the Eric Church references are a part of his more authentic persona on the record. Eric is 13 or 14 years older than Thomas. Eric's first record came out when Thomas was in high school. For the past 30 years, we've had people referring back to William Whalen, and more recently in the 90s country scene. That makes sense, as it is where a lot of the guys first connected to country music. With Thomas's age, it seems that he's the first among this generation who cut their teeth on 2000s country, specifically Eric Church, and this is him acknowledging that, and that never crossed my mind. Like
that's really interesting. I think that's a very, very good point. That I said John brought that up.
Joe.
Joe.
J_ Tata.
Yeah.
Tata. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Joe. But man, because like when I think of that, it's like I've had this thought before where I think to myself, like, when I'm 30, I'm gonna hear the singers referencing these artists. But it's weird to think that it's now, because it's so strange to think that like Thomas Rhett, though he is obviously older than me, is not like a whole generation older. Like I don't know. I'm in this awkward stage of like I'm not actually very young anymore.
Wait, how old is Thomas Rhett? Isn't he like
30? I think he's not 31.
He's a millennial, isn't he?
He was born in the 90s, I'm pretty sure. So,
early 90s.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 1999. But
yeah, he's 31. I think that's millennial, isn't it?
Probably. Either way, it's just something to think about. Yeah, I never thought about that there is quite an age gap between Thomas and Eric, which is why I could be referencing it. Because when I heard it as like a reference or an acknowledgement to like a peer or just a companion. But really, it could be an idol, like someone who's...
when I listened to it, it felt like it was coming from a place of like, I want to listen to some real country music. Like he was regarding Eric Church's music as like, this is the music that is authentic that I want to listen to with my real friends from back home. Like, go to my roots, like that.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
that raises a good point that I wonder sometimes, because I hear, you hear your pop country, and there is good pop country and there is bad pop country, but I find a lot of the good pop country is when they actually acknowledge it's pop country. I find all the crummy pop country is when they're sitting here saying like, I love me some country music, fiddle and steel raised me, here's a pop song. But
Yeah.
I wonder, because when you say that Thomas is acknowledging real country music, this is sort of an off-topic thought, but do those pop country artists that say like, oh, this is like country, do they realize that like it's really not?
Yeah, I don't.
If that makes sense.
They have to.
Well,
they have to know.
I think there has to be a part
say-
of you deep down, because like
I remember seeing.
Wait, can you elaborate, please?
Well, when you have someone like, what's a good
Dustin
example? Lynch. Dustin Lynch, yeah. That's a great example, actually.
I'm sorry. If any of you guys listening actually like Dustin Lynch, I genuinely am sorry, but I hate him.
Mama's House is the only.
Sorry, not him.
Mama's
I
House
hate
is the
his
only.
music.
Well, yeah, Mama's House is the only song I've really been able to listen to and enjoy. But
And
say you
I
take.
love the cover art for Tullahoma.
It is actually really nice. You know what I'm actually kind of cheesed about? I will elaborate on my point in 10 seconds, Jaded. But months ago, I thought, it'd be really cool to make like a best album covers or worst album covers video. And then just like last week,
Great
I thought, even last week, like days before Grady's video, I was thinking of like, I should go back to that idea of like best album covers, worst album covers. Of course, it was release season, so I put it off. I was like, I'll do it later. Mm-hmm. Days later, Grady comes out and says it'd be really cool to make a covers video, and that writes off the idea, because if I make the video now before him, everyone's gonna be like, you just finessed his video idea. Even though I've had this idea for months, if I do it after him, it just looks like I'm completely, blatantly ripping off his stuff. But to go back and elaborate on my point, it's like if you take someone like Dustin Lynch, they're always out here like saying, they'll show up to their interviews in their cowboy boots and cowboy hats,
and they're like advocating for like a true country.
Yeah, and like, this came from the soul. This is some real country music here. And then it's literally just sexy talk rapping over a trap beat talking about nothing. Like, is there not a part of them? There has to be a part of them deep down that knows
that
this
is
not.
Mask.
Yeah, like this is not authentic. That was my. It's a rhetorical question. I'm not looking for an answer, but it's just food for thought.
Well, I think so. Actually, that makes me think of something specific that I have seen. The Backroad Riff, like that Instagram account.
Rest in peace, Backroad Riff, bro.
Yeah, I mean he's still doing stuff.
He's still going. Hold on, what's he at? If
Instagram moved him.
If you have Instagram and you're not following Backroad Riff, what are you doing? He was at like 11K or something, and then Instagram
he was getting
took him
pretty
down.
big, and then Instagram.
Yeah, he was one of the bigger
they didn't
ones.
For no reason.
They took him for copyright, but they didn't warn him ahead of time.
Back up to a little bit more than all.
He's at 1100. He's at 1100. He was.
But anyway, what I was
deleted
saying,
at
he
11K.
has posted about. I think he even did it recently. Yeah, Chris Young. It was
his most recent post. Yeah.
And like Chris Young, I remember seeing one of his older
Yes.
posts
Oh, I
back
know
when
the
he had that
exact
other
thing
account.
you're talking. I know what you're gonna reference.
Where
yeah,
like
yeah.
Chris Young had like responded to people being like, "Why don't you do what you used to do?" And he was like,
better.
"Well, it just doesn't sell as good." And he like the label he's just making pop country because that's what's selling, and it's like, I mean, I guess
Drowning, bro. That's the most blatant like.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard the acoustic version beforehand. The performance that he did before it came out. I only heard it when it first came out. And I'm not gonna lie, that is one of those songs that even though like instrumentally and it's not my cup of tea. I didn't really enjoy it sonically. I still love that song just because it's one of the that one hits me. And I found it at a time where it couldn't have been a better time to find a song like that. But then I heard the acoustic performance and it's like, man, like what went wrong in the studio? Where did they go? And like his voice is so like bro, it sounds like they put auto-tune in the wrong key or something. His voice is just
I don't think you
flipping
even need
all
to
over
edit
the
his
place.
voice, if I'm being honest.
You do
saying
not.
Yeah,
He has
I'm not a
fantastic
producer,
voice.
but like, why are you? Why?
Well,
are you
yeah. Like
no,
in
every release song has auto-tune. Everything that gets produced, it's just like if it's bad auto-tune, then it's bad auto-tune.
Oh yeah. And I mean, like, I remember I was asking my Instagram who has the best voice in country music, and really quickly, Waza, if you're listening to this, that video is still. I'm sorry, I got swallowed up by release season. Basically, I'm planning a video. I was very deep into planning a video of just talking about who has the best voice in country music, and Waza put so much work into helping me with this, and it was genuinely crazy. But it's been pushed back so long just because of releases and everything and trying to figure stuff out. So Waza, if you're hearing this, I still have not forgot about that video. But I put a thing up asking like, who has the best voice in country music, and it was several people responded to it with Chris Young. Like, if it wasn't Chris Stapleton, it was honestly Chris Young, and I was kind of surprised by that because I was expecting like a gazillion Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, like, you know, just the biggest artists. But Chris Young was right up there. I mean, Chris Stapleton ran away with it, but Chris Young was right up there too, and I was like, I don't know, it just makes it a little harder to listen to his music, knowing he's got such, like on Tomorrow and stuff, where his voice is just so good that to hear it go to waste, I would say, on these like pop songs, it's not, you know, I don't even know if it's the fact that they're overly poppy, but he's not even letting his voice go to the full potential because it just feels so refined and edited and post-produced. It just doesn't. I don't know. Chris Young's an interesting taste, but I found that I know the clip you're talking about. I found that super interesting because as much as you'd want to turn around and say, well, then you clearly don't care about the music, like you're only in it for the money, blah blah blah. But if you were an artist and you were given, like, because we don't know the numbers he's dealing with, we don't know money wise, but if you were put with two numbers and say, if you make traditional, you're going to get this much, if you make pop, you're going to make this much, there's got to be a genuine temptation factor that you can't necessarily blame him for.
No. Overshore.
Yeah.
So the way he phrased it was, he said, you guys say like you want this, but when I put this out, it sells better. That means more people are going towards it. So I don't think it's just like, oh, he did this for the money. I think like to a certain extent, it's like, it kind of seems like more people want it that way. To
a certain extent, but I feel like his more dedicated fans are asking for the traditional stuff back, whereas we can just say like, yeah, this seems like, you know, this seems like the more like respectable way to go. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate. I obviously like his other music better. If more people are going towards it, it's like, can you blame him? Yeah, that's the thing. You can't fully, like, we can have our preferences, but when you look at numbers and whatnot, we don't know the numbers, but it would be he's in a bit of a pickle, and it comes down to just, I don't know, it's just what do you want in your music. And so Chris Young has a fantastic voice, but his music, his newer stuff anyways, I still love his old stuff, but his newer stuff isn't my cup of tea necessarily. But it's an interesting conversation. It's an interesting conversation.
Okay, so for example, let's say I was a musician, I wouldn't care. I would want to do like a certain type of music, and it's not because I care about my fans.
Jaden doesn't care about his fans.
I don't care about my fans. If I'm having people listening to me, that means I have fans. That means I have people that enjoy my music. For him to like stay, that would be him caring about his own music, and I think that's also super respectable. If you care like more about like your own music than you do like about like other people listening to it, and I think that's just as respectable than as like, oh, I want to make this because the fans want this.
Yeah, I mean, and there's definitely like an element of establishing yourself. Like a lot of artists you'll find there, like John Party's a fantastic example of this, where he had to make his debut album that was just bro country because he had to get a name out for himself. But once you prove yourself within the industry and whatnot, and you have more say with your label, obviously I'm not an insider, I don't know how it all works, but once you can say, look what I can do, then you have more creative freedom. And look what John Party did. Like, Heartache Medication is one of my it has to be up there as one of my favorite country albums. I freaking love that thing.
I have been going back
one second, just to really quickly finish my thought. Where it gets interesting with Chris Young is like, I feel like he did establish himself already with his older stuff. So then it's not like he didn't have a fan base coming into these years that we're currently in. It's not like he's still trying to prove himself as an artist, because he did that a while ago. So that's where, I don't know. It's all one big blur. It's a hard thing to talk about. California Sunrise. I mean, Cowboy Hat, with all due respect, it sounds great, but it's one of my least favorites on the album. If I'm looking at it, it's like Paycheck, All Time High, Cowboy Hat are probably...
Wow, okay, that's interesting.
My least favorites. I mean, my favorite undoubtedly is She Ain't In It. And then I would go Head Over Boots. That song is so good. I don't care what anyone says. I think that's unanimous. But Head Over Boots is an absolute gem. Yes, go.
And that's interesting because it sounds like I'm the opposite, except I love all of the songs. Don't get me wrong. Everyone.
Yeah, they're all good. They're all at a level.
Yeah. But. For me, for some reason, Cowboy Hat has just grown on me so much. I just think it's super fun. Originally, when I first heard it, I was like, like I really didn't like it that much. But for some reason, it sounds amazing. I think the fiddle in that song.
Oh, bro, John Party's fiddle.
When I listen to Cowboy Hat, it's because when I first heard it, the lyrics I wasn't a huge fan of the lyrics, but they're intentionally like it's intentionally just overly like I like this is what I want, like, but every time I hear it now, that fiddle that comes in, I just have so much fun with it, and I can see it being one of my least favorite on the album because it used to be, but it just grew on me a lot.
Oh yeah.
I used to love Head Over Boots, like what we were talking about earlier, but I think I've just heard it so much that every time it comes on, I'm not gonna complain, and heck, I'll even turn it on my own. But there's other John Party songs that I would turn on.
Yeah, I understand that.
And actually, I've always liked She Ain't In It, but it's always been the one that I come back to the least on that album. And I know everybody like loves it, and I do love it. I just don't love it as much as like every other song on that album, because I really do. The two most recent John Party albums, I think, are extremely good. Yeah,
John Party, like, I'm so intrigued to see where he goes.
And I've almost convinced myself that I like California Sunrise more than Heartache Medication, which might be a minor hot take, but I'm not saying it's better.
It's hotter than the hot takes that we've been getting recently. Where's the one? I think someone put a meme in the meme chat. Yeah, Big Bird. I love Big Bird, man. But he put a hot takes meme in the meme chat, which honestly in the Discord, people have been like posting custom memes and stuff. Like they go to their way to make a meme about the Overshore channel or the Discord or the whatever.
It's usually Claire.
Yeah, it is Claire, but it's really nice to see Big Bird doing it, because like, bro, if we can get a bunch of those and have like a video of like reacting to those memes, that would be so good.
Yeah. I only ever put
Canadian memes
in just because I love them.
Bro, it's a great time to meme Canada. If you want to meme Canada, do it now, because we are
I love the most recent one I sent. It's the US goes, has anyone seen Canada? And then Great Britain goes, hold on, I got this. Ahem. War of 1812, and then Canada busts through the wall with a foam like #1 finger, and it goes, "We beat America." We burned the White House.
We burned the White House.
That's militia. That made me laugh.
Oh man, bro, it was funny when I took American history. I just realized how useless the Canadian Army was back then. But Canada. While we're quickly. And then we'll go to Dustin Moore, and then we'll close it off. But while we're on the topic of Canada, to my fellow Canadians, I've had this argument with my brother. Stop lying to yourselves. Real maple syrup is not better than store-bought maple syrup, okay? Like,
interesting.
People are out here like, oh, I love that real maple syrup. It's like a country music thing where it's just one of those things you say to kind of earn your Canadian cred, like, oh, I have real maple syrup and it's in my fridge, and I built that tree, I grew that tree.
I built that tree right there, and I shoved some metal in it, and I got me some.
I love me some bark in my.
I got
Bro,
me
I
some
don't even
fine
know.
nectar. I tell you what.
Bro, but real maple syrup.
You get
first of
little
all,
bits of bark in there. It makes it that much better.
And the reason I bring this up is because a few days ago we had some, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a second go, or not second go, but I'm gonna give it another try because every time,
out and just throws his plate on the ground.
every time I'm like, literally every time I'm like, no, it's not good. But for whatever reason, the other day I decided I'm gonna go for it again, and there were 3 chocolate chip pancakes left that I made, and quick side note about myself, I love me some chocolate chip pancakes. I make those like 3 times a week minimum. It's not good, but like, anyways, it was the last 3, so it was a sacrifice. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give that real maple syrup one more try. First of all, you microwave the pancake because you don't have you have warm pancakes. But then the syrup, because it's real, is in the fridge, so it's cold. So now you have this awkward contrast that I'm getting on my Gordon Ramsay stuff right now. The temperature
really like
contrast.
Cold syrup on hot pancakes. But sorry, continue.
Well,
I agree.
I don't. So then the flavor, not only is the flavor not actually that good, like, you can lie to yourself and you can sit on the end of your screen being like, oh, listen to Evan making a fool of himself, saying real maple syrup doesn't actually taste that good. And then it's so overpowering, I couldn't taste the chocolate, I couldn't taste the pancake, so I'm sitting here, all I can feel is warm and cold, and all I taste is maple syrup that doesn't even taste that good. All right?
Sorry, man.
So I'm getting heated about this. And you know what? I have another Canadian video. I have a Canadian video coming soon that is probably my most passionate video I've made. It's not very related to country music. It's not related to country music at all. But
is it all about the syrup? You're just
nope,
go for
it's
a 20-minute rant?
It's a whole different issue we are facing in the Great North. It's a whole nother issue. And
is Overshore about to get political?
No, I ain't getting political. I'm getting deep, bro. Not even political. It's Tim Hortons, bro. Little foreshadowing. They've gone downhill, man. They've gone severely downhill. Justin Moore has a new album. We're gonna switch gears nice and quickly.
Whoa. I need to say one thing real quick. I've never had a bad experience with the real maple syrup, but yeah, I would kind of agree. But my only thing is, one time I had some blueberry maple syrup that was definitely not the real stuff, and that is the best syrup I've ever had, ever. It's good on ice cream. It's good on pancakes. It's good on waffles. It's good on cinnamon rolls. That's all I have to say.
I had no clue the real maple syrup was a thing until
it's like, well,
don't try
when you home make it, or when you get it from people who've homemade it before, it's like if you're buying it, it's noticeably different from if you're gonna buy it from a place.
It's not even the same. It's not even the same
but
thing.
It's just a different experience, and some people prefer it, obviously.
Some people don't. So last thing we're gonna talk about, I love how Eric Church, we had 3 things on our agenda. We had Eric Church, Thomas Rhett, and Justin Moore, because we knew we'd branch out, and lo and behold, we talked about Thomas Rhett for 5 minutes, and now half an hour later we're switching gears. But Justin Moore has this new album straight out of the country. It's a short one. It's 8 but really 7 songs.
And I'd say it's a pretty strong step.
What do we? Yeah, you can open up. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, to start, I just want to real quick get this out of the way. Justin, my guy, we got to talk about this album art, because the album art he had as a single because he released We Didn't Have Much as a single, and that album art, the art for that single was I really liked that. And then when I saw the album art for this album, I was like, Justin,
it's not very good.
Yeah, it's cool. I get that you're going for the snakeskin, snakeskin kind of boot kind of thing, and it's a play on Straight Outta Compton or whatever, and it's all right, just
that well.
But that's pretty much my only major complaint about this.
And it's not even about the music.
Yeah,
nice.
And it's not about the music, which is very positive. So,
yeah,
but
it's
I actually really like all of these songs.
It's a strong set.
Yeah, except for maybe like the opener is actually Hearing Things is probably my least favorite, but it's by no means bad. I just think
Interesting.
I think We Didn't Have Much is it's always been a standout. I loved it when it was a single. She Ain't
Yeah.
Mine No More is probably my favorite.
I agree with
More
you there.
Than Me.
It's either She Ain't Mine No More or More Than Me.
Yeah, More
She
Than
Ain't
Me
Mine
is
No
great.
More. Like,
And You Keep Getting Me Drunk is a jam, I think.
yeah. I mean, I still don't know if I'm gonna make a full review. Is this 2 weeks old now?
Is it?
Oh my gosh, it is. All right. Well, I guess I'm kind of late to it then, so I probably won't do a review. But Justin can get a melody because he can get a hook because he has such a big voice. Like, he can go so high. Like, he doesn't have a falsetto. He just has his chest, but his chest can go so high that you get songs like She Ain't Mine No More, and it's like those are the hooks that just get stuck in your head. And like people were saying, dude knows how to pick a single. And yeah, I don't have many complaints. I mean, you can it definitely at times it is kind of like just the same idea of like, this is how country I am, but Justin just I am a fan of Justin's music, so even though he's not necessarily dishing up anything new or different from what he or anyone else before him has said, just sound wise, Justin will always like he has that place in my heart. His sound does.
Yeah, I will say, like it's a short album, which I can appreciate. I actually don't mind longer albums, but if I get a shorter album, I need it to be a strong. Like, if I have a short EP, I need it to be strong. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be like, oh, 2 of these 4 songs aren't very good, because I want to be able to listen to an album and enjoy most of it. Because how I digest music is, and I know some people aren't like this, and I know like Tom in the Discord, Tom hasn't always been a listen through albums. He likes to listen to a lot of singles of like that artist put out, or just like specific songs.
Yeah.
But like, I can really appreciate that this is 8 tracks, kind of really only 7 because
you just say acoustic. 7, yeah.
Yeah, we'll say 7. I'd say for me, 6 out of the 7 are very strong. The 7th one being Hearing Things, and I think it's still good. So like, it's like, I think that's a really Justin.
Yeah, it's a
solid album.
That's the thing. I'd rather have an album like this and I'm gonna touch on this in my video that I'm planning about length of albums, but I'd rather have this 7-track album that is a strong bunch of songs than if he gave me 11 and 4 of them were just so, because it's strong is the word, because even like that's how I would describe the music itself, but it's just strong music. And Consecutive Days Alive, that is honestly like, I mean,
I like that one.
I say like I've now said 3 are up there as my favorite, which is almost half the album. But like, I love the comedic twist of Consecutive Days Alive. Like, I'm just happy I broke my record for Consecutive Days Alive. It's so dumb and it's so simple and common sense, but it's just no one's ever said that before because it's so common sense, and I love that song.
It reminds me of a little bit, just the vibe with the lyrics and just in general of Ain't a Bad Day by Hardy off of a rock, where it's like the world is ending.
I could see that.
It's just a similar. It's not the exact same vibe, but just like the same kind of like there's a twist. I guess.
I mean, it's funny you bring that up because like just the other day I was listening through a rock, and obviously I listened to it a lot in 2020, but kind of stepped off the gas a little bit this year. But man, I went back to it a few days ago, and it's just like, that is a freaking good album.
Yeah, it's a solid album, and I would say to describe both a rock and Straight Outta the Country, I would kind of describe them the same way. There's like 1 or 2 songs on a rock, mostly because it's a little bit longer than Straight Outta the Country, but there's like 1 or 2 songs where I'm like, yeah, these are solid, but the rest of them really are jams. Like for me, like So Close with Ashland Craft and Broke Boy are for me probably like the ones off of that album that I'm like, it would be the Hearing Thing of the Justin Moore album. It's like, these are solid, but the rest of the album is like, yeah, these are all bangers.
I've always been an advocate for So Close, but I agree with you on Broke Boy.
I do like So Close.
and
That's
Jaded-
the thing. It's just
Oh yeah, and Jaded, you
I
haven't
have-
had your say much here, so let's let him go.
Okay, before I start, I'm just gonna say, and this probably is like the major part of my opinion. I will not listen to this album a second time, and it's that I really hate Justin Moore's voice.
There it
like,
is. One of my favorite voices.
That's the only.
And
Is that
man's
pretty
just
much the
gonna
only reason?
slap
So
it with
much I
that.
hate it.
Slap it with that, bro.
First of all, he sounds like the uncle that everyone has. Well, maybe Canadian.
Sorry, I totally just burped over you. Leave that in there.
Bro, if you're
He
gonna
sounds
come
like
out
the-
here and talk about Justin Moore's voice in a negative light, you deserve to be burped over. But continue. We'll give you grace.
Okay,
We'll give you
fair
grace.
He sounds like the uncle that everyone has whose vowels are so harsh. Every single vowel he says is so overpronounced.
Oh, he has
He
a
has a-
strong accent.
he has
I'll
the-
say that.
He has the deepest accent I've ever heard, and I'm from the South, okay? It's
You're passionate about this, you know. There's like a
don't-
genuine dislike.
I don't find it. I'm not.
and then
I'm not going to tell you how to digest people's voices, but I've found from my experience that a lot of people find John Party's voice more offensive.
Well, he doesn't like John Barney's voice either.
Yeah, Justin Moore. I know he doesn't, and that makes sense though because his voice is very, like it's kind of nasally. It's like up there. It's just kind of like in the head. You know?
Yeah, it's way easier for me to understand someone disliking John's voice over Justin.
Yeah,
Okay,
which is
and
surprising. to me.
And maybe that would be okay if he had like some sort of like unique bearing, but no, it's just the same like deep country voice.
Oh yeah,
that
he
we
doesn't
always
change it
hear.
up much. All the songs are that is one thing you can easily argue with Justin Moore is every song's gonna bring the same strength, he's always gonna go higher in the hook and everything. Like there's not too many curveballs he's gonna throw at you. But
I'm not even talking about that. That's not even like that offensive to me. Like if someone sounds like similar on like most songs, I don't care as long as they sound good. But no, I mean like the very base of his voice, there's nothing unique about it. It's just
leave it to Jaded to come in and contradict everything we say.
Yeah,
it's
tearing Justin apart. But it's just his voice, right?
I'll get to that too. Like there's some things that I dislike, but not like this passionately.
Okay.
It's just the same deep country voice that we hear from. There's like 5 to 10 artists that have the same voice, but the thing is, then Justin Moore, the one thing that's like even close to unique about him, it's just
let me blast "Kinda Don't Care" by Justin Moore real quick on max volume.
Listen, if you like Justin Moore, I respect it. I just hate it.
I think Justin Moore deserves more respect. I think
he does.
I don't think.
I
don't think he gets enough
listen. This isn't me saying like I don't think people.
Yeah, no.
should like him. I'm not saying that.
It's a personal preference thing.
We understand. I'm just saying, in general, people that listen to country music, I feel like a lot of people would like what he does. Just a lot of people don't maybe have the privilege of being able to digest it.
Okay, well, the thing is, like, I'm like, I don't even know if I would like consider myself like a country fan if I didn't like include Americana and folk in kind of the same bag, because I have like,
but I'm a
there's,
big
like,
folk fan too.
There's like there's like 3 artists that I would like consider like only country that I like. So it's like,
who would that be? I'm curious.
Let me guess. Hold on. Dustin Lynch.
Yes, sir.
Dickerson.
Yep, you got me.
And Dan and Shay.
Throw a bone to Tom. We'll do a Rascal Flats.
Throw one to Tom. Yeah. Sorry, continue. I cut you off.
Yeah, those 3 artists would probably. Well, I guess. Wait.
Eric Church and.
Yeah, Eric Church, Kip Moore, and I was gonna say well, I was gonna say Culture Wall because he's very like country, but I feel like he's also like more Western.
Well,
so,
that's still country.
It's still country. I would say that goes hand in hand.
Yeah,
country
and Western,
like.
Well, yeah, like I'm like what I'm saying is like the umbrella term, like because if that umbrella wasn't like there, like if we were only talking about country music, then I probably wouldn't consider myself.
I think a lot of people are in that boat.
Let's go ahead and call Kip Moore country rock.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say you could even say Kip Moore's more rock.
Because I would say all three of those guys have roots in country, but I would not say
no.
because none of them is like none of them is like a current John Party, like it's like
like what?
But
No, I'm
it's
like
their
what I'm saying is like rock isn't like considered under the country umbrella. So that's what I meant.
I'm confused, honestly.
I got a little lost.
Yeah.
What? No, I'm like okay. So like you would all
sorry.
you would
Let me just
you would consider like folk, like Americana and that kind of stuff like in the same bag as country, but there's rock that has like it's just so much more broader. Like that's not the same thing.
I see what you're saying, but when I think of folk, I don't see it as under that country umbrella. But maybe that's just me. But folk feels different to me, and so does Americana. But it feels like it's kind of like a. But wait, I'm not like. It feels like they're related, like kind of like maybe like a cousin or something.
Yeah,
but
I know what you mean.
I understand that, but like.
But I also see what you're saying. Like they're so similar.
But like find like any folk fan. There's probably a country like artist out there that you could find that they would like. I don't know if you can say the same thing about rock. I feel like they're much more related.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like rock music.
Maybe, but at this point,
everything's a bit of a blend nowadays. I'm not gonna lie. Everything's
a lot
everywhere.
of what Kip Moore does is pretty, especially on that Wild Ones album. That's rock.
Yeah, that's rock and roll music. But to tie it back,
but it depends on what kind of rock
you guys want to get into genre?
No, we're too late in the episode to touch on genre.
I will say I love talking about genre, but we don't have enough.
That is a whole episode in itself. We can dedicate an entire episode to that. We're way too late in the episode for that. Yeah.
I want you to arrange a formal debate between me and Chilltown about genre.
Oh my god. No. So, tying it back, just a question. This is more for Jaren because Jaded has expressed his opinions on Justin Moore. Justin Moore has a pretty deep discography at this point. What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite Justin Moore song?
Just like if I had to choose one.
Yep.
So I will say I only really got into Justin Moore with Late Nights and Long Necks. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. His first song that I heard was actually Kinda Don't Care, or at least the one that I might have heard one of his before that, but maybe I might have not recognized it. I know Small Town USA, that's a classic one.
Yeah.
If Heaven Wasn't So Far Away, that's another classic one that a lot of people have heard. But if I had to choose one, like that Late Night, I own the Late Nights and Long Necks album. I really do.
It's very good.
And I've always come back.
Is it going to be the same one as me?
Oh, maybe. Well, first I'll do a couple quick honorable mentions off this because I really enjoy. Obviously, Why We Drink is a jam.
That's a great one.
Someday I Gotta Quit is a sleeper. I think it's such a I love Someday I Gotta Quit.
I can agree with that.
I don't know. But those two are super fun, and even Airport Bar grew on me. When I first heard Airport Bar, I was like, I don't know about this. It's the way he says bar, he does, that.
Yeah,
he goes back. But the one that I probably love the most is Jesus and Jack Daniels.
Okay, yeah, so it's not mine, but those are all good picks. I think there's two clear ones for me, and that would be If Heaven Wasn't So Far Away. It's one of his bigger hits, but I love that song. And another really good. Another one from Late Nights and Long Necks. I forget if this was a solo or not, or a single or not. It might have been a single. I can't remember. But On the Rocks. It's either If Heaven Wasn't So Far Away or On the Rocks.
I see that Midland tie.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, not intentionally, but
expose him.
Bro, I'm staring at the poster right now. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, On the Rocks, man. And it is. That's another time back to the start of the episode, the start of this podcast. That's one of those ones where it's the memory tied to it. That man, when I listen to that song, I cannot think of anything but the specific moment in time, but there's something cool about that. So I think that's a good spot to probably close it off.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Does Justin Moore have a song where it's just instrumental? Because if so, that's the song that's my favorite song of his.
Just a performance of
Justin
If We Didn't
He's
Know
not
Much.
Brad Paisley. I don't think he does.
I mean,
The only reason I say that is because Brad Paisley has an instrument on literally every single album that he has. I think.
Yeah. So I think that a good spot. It's 90 minutes. So I think that's good.
I mean, I didn't like explain like the other parts of the album that I dislike, but I'd be okay with not having.
I mean, we could. Let's just do that real quick.
Just go for it. Just go for it.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I just think like I really appreciate a lot of the writing because I think I think the Hardy comparison was really apt because like I feel like I'm not like into the topic. I come from like a town that has like 1,000 people in. I'm just not like into the small town like country kind of music.
Sure.
I agree with that because like what I call home is not the biggest either, and I found it kind of funny when I kind of drew the line because everyone's like in this one light town or whatever, and I'm sitting here and I realize like I'm literally living in a one light town, yet I agree with you that I can often find those small town songs kind of obnoxious. Yeah. Continue.
My town has no lights.
Jeez.
Jared's got the no light town.
Oh, it's gone. You know it's coming at the end of the it's coming at the end of the episode.
We just let everything loose now.
Continue before this falls off.
But yeah, I really appreciate like the assonance and all the wordplay and stuff. And
okay.
And yeah, I feel like it's like really edgeless and kind of boring to a certain extent, but that's
interesting.
I can understand that though. I don't agree with it, but I can understand it.
I can see from your because I've after talking to you for a while now, I have started to more understand what you're into, and yeah, I can see this maybe coming off as edgeless.
From your incorrect view of me.
Also, by the way, on the Straight Outta Country, like the song, when he says y'all, like it like a rapper would say like a or something, that physically made me cringe. Like I actually was just walking around in a field and I just cringed.
I can see that.
That's awesome, honestly.
So I think with that, we're gonna draw this episode to a close. Wherever you're listening, if you've made it here, thank you. You're the best. If you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you are listening to this, we love you. Let
Google
us know.
Podcast gang.
Yep.
Stay safe out there.
Yeah. So let us know what you think we should name this. We have a few ideas floating around between us, but
I need to hear.
Do you pitch your idea?
I need everybody to hear my idea that I pitched earlier that Evan rudely shot down.
I didn't shoot it down. I just had a critique.
No,
I have
my idea.
I have a deep appreciation for this.
After much deliberation, really only like 5 minutes.
No, dog, you sent it like a minute afterwards. I was really impressed.
Well, I thought really hard about it. I was trying to come up with a play on words with Overshore, the Overshore name, and I was like, okay, let's take split in half. Let's take shore, and I was like, all right, what's something I can do with shore? And I was kind of like thinking, okay, shore, like maybe a beach, and so I thought of waves on the shore, and so I was thinking like maybe kind of like because this was a music podcast, so I was thinking like waves, kind of like sound waves, and then shore maybe, and like with the waves and the shore kind of like being like a play on words with like the beach, but also having the connection to the name, so it's like a play off of the name. And I thought it was pretty solid, but the audience can say their piece.
Yeah, I mean, we may end up naming it that. We don't know what we're gonna name it yet, but we're open to input. So if you got a name that you're like, this is absolutely what it should be called.
Yeah, we're open to worse ideas.
Let us know, and then maybe it'll come down to a poll. Who knows? But this was the first episode, so it's kind of all over the place. No real structure, but we'll see where this podcast goes. Also, let us know what do you guys want to see or hear. Like, are there any specific ideas for a segment you'd want to hear? I have some ideas. The guys have some ideas as well. We're really just the first few episodes are just going to be kind of working things out, shaping what this podcast is going to look like in the long run. And so I think that's it, right? Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. Until next time, have a great day.